One. And we are recording episode 868, Saturday, July 23rd, 2022, 4:20 p.m. Eastern time. And as I just told Miss Lopez, remembering my brother, it would be his 36th birthday today, and it's on my mind, and I'm not even going to pretend like it's not. So happy birthday, John. I love you. And with that, Miss Lopez, is the world getting better or is it going to hell? Seems to be our weekly theme. But
Well, first, I'm glad to be with you again, Tommy. Thanks for readjusting our schedules
yes, ma'am.
when I couldn't do it a couple days ago. And with you thinking about your brother today.
Thank you.
But yeah, the country and the world, I can see how people would think going to hell in a handbasket.
Sure. But I mean, is it really still going? Because we do cover that every week, but I don't know, just some pot. I mean, it's not a pot. I mean, that kid stopped that mall shooter. I
That was
mean, there's that story that
really impressive.
that
Yeah.
guy saved like 5 kids from a
Yeah.
burning building, jumped out of a second story to save one. Like, I don't know, like there are some beautiful things, but
There are some, and I'll tell you, I work with some really wonderful people, that I was with, for example, this past week, John Guandolo, John Bennett at Understanding the Threat, for example, understandingthethreat.com, and visiting places around the country and meeting, the people there, the ordinary, everyday American patriot citizens that are there in these different parts of the country. That's a pick me up. That gives us hope, gives me hope.
yeah. Um, but now to, I guess, dive back into the darkness. Um, what do you think about Zelensky asking for $750 billion? Is that
There's no amount of money that could be too much.
yeah,
It doesn't mean that we, the American citizens, ought to be footing
that's my
that
point.
entire bill.
That's my point.
No. But I mean, this is a country that is under existential threat, invasion, assault, pulverization of its cities, slaughter of thousands upon thousands of its citizens. And I am, thinking in a positive way about how the United States and the world, particular Western Europe and NATO, have responded to help these people to survive this onslaught and push the invader out of their sovereign national borders, their country. But no, should the American taxpayer be picking up the entire tab? No, of course not. Others need to step up too.
Yeah. And I know this is kind of stupid, and I try to avoid any sort of pop culture because I just feel my IQ dropping. But that being said, what do you think about that comedian Alex Stein saying "I love you, AOC, and your big booty"? I mean, I think I have an unpopular opinion for conservative leaning. It did kind of seem like harassment. I thought it was hilarious, but like just trying to like look at it objectively, it kind of, and I'm not saying it's illegal, but trying to put on my bipartisan hat. I mean, it was a little gross, and I'm sure
No, I
I'm about
mean,
to lose
members of
half my
Congress,
subscribers
yeah,
for
no,
that.
members of Congress and other elected officials, no matter from which party, deserve respect. That was
Sure.
not respectful. It was disgusting.
Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I did giggle, but then I looked at it again, and I
No,
was like, I watched it again, and I was like, I told myself, I was like, by myself, no one here to like impress. Like, got to go along with the conservative. I was like, that's. I don't have a sister, but I was like, that's not cool. I don't think it's illegal. People are saying he should be in jail. No, that's. I mean, that's you're polishing the
no,
First Amendment
it's
there,
not
but
illegal. It's just
that was
in tremendously poor taste.
that was gross.
I think it's symbolic of the degradation of American society, especially, I'm sorry, but among some of the younger and millennial generation, of which I know you're a part, but not part of
Yeah,
that. I am a sister and a daughter and a mother,
yeah,
and that was simply disrespectful of an elected official, however much we disagree with everything that comes out of her mouth.
Sure.
That's not the point.
She's an elected
She's an elected
official.
official. She deserves respect.
Yeah.
And that was not respectful of any woman,
Yeah.
any female
Yeah.
at all, much less an elected official. So the coarseness, the coarsening of American society is something that really troubles me a lot. The acceptance in public, the public arena, of not just disrespectful language, but um, just degrading language
Yeah.
and obscenities and profanity. Um, there's been an awful coarsening of our society, and it seems to be worse and worse as we go down. I'm sorry, but the generations, the
Yeah.
XYZ, whatever those are.
Yeah.
Um,
And
there's simply no excuse for it, and we need to get things back on track.
yeah, I mean, it's such like a tired trope, like back in the old days, and it's like, well, everyone, and I'm the biggest like critic of that. I'm like, everyone always says back. If you go back to the 1920s, they're probably saying society's going down. And like, you look at like a YouTube video of like a colorized 1920s video, and it's like every man in a top hat and it's like, well, they also only owned one pair of clothes. That being said, this is kind of one of those things where you're like, dude, I mean,
Well,
of
I mean,
all, yeah,
my father is from the World War II generation. He
yeah,
was in the U.S. Army in Europe,
yeah,
in that front. My uncle as well. My father dressed in a suit and tie to go to work every day. He wore a fedora, not a top hat, but a fedora.
hell yeah,
Um, and until I went to college, I never knew a single person in my entire acquaintance or family who cussed, who drank alcohol. Well, okay, a couple of the uncles had a beer every now and then.
yeah,
But in most of the homes, alcohol was simply not present.
sure,
They didn't smoke, they didn't drink, and they didn't cuss. Not a
yeah,
single person in my entire until I went to college.
yeah,
That's the very,
yeah,
very old-fashioned world that I grew up in.
yeah. And I'm not someone that says like you. That's part of the beautiful thing about America is if you want to dye your hair pink, get 10 piercings, and drink it, you're allowed to. That's the core of agree to
Yeah,
disagree.
I mean, you're allowed to, but don't expect anyone to respect
Oh
you.
no, sure. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. By all means, go and me saying that people need to act respectful. I mean, that's just me pretending and hoping that nobody saw me from 18 to 26. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and blah blah. Blah. Like, good Lord, no. I mean, I was literally a frat boy in a southeastern college. Like, enough said. But it's just it's kind of like, what's that saying? Like, if you watch the pennies, the dollars will watch themselves. It's just kind
Yeah,
of like a
heard
little
that.
thing
I've
where it's
heard
like
that.
there are
Yeah.
fundamentals. Like me, when I'm trying to lose weight, I'm like, if you can't choose water over a soda, I'm like, then don't sit there and bitch when you can't see abs anymore. But you're worrying about I gotta lose 10 pounds. And it's like, dude, if you can't cut 100 calories here and there for something that's not even filling, like water versus soda, then don't worry. And whenever I do start to watch the pennies, or you know, okay, walk to the gym. You don't need to drive, or just do push-ups every day. Just do 20 push-ups every day. When you start to watch this podcast, there's never been a day where I did them all. It's always one or two.
Mhm.
Occasionally there's like a three, and then you blink and it's 868, and you're like, okay. So to me, the reasoning of saying all of that is like if we can't watch the tiniest thing, like on the steps of the Capitol saying like juicy Latina. Hey man, you want to say that online? Go for it. I feel like online. I grew up with like the internet. Like it's kind of accepted. Like internet's the Wild West. If you can't handle it, that's on you. There is something about like on the steps of the cat. And again, it's like if you can't watch that, then don't expect any sort of respect going forward when it comes to like spending bills or healthcare or immigration. Because if at the very base level you're staring and yelling at her ass, well, why would they want to work with you over the aisle? Like, and I know that sounds trite, like we should only focus on the bills. But again, you have to build the foundation if you want any sort of structurally sound house. And if you can't call out a double standard, then there's no point in saying any. Well, then they're twerking and they're having kids at drag shows. Sure, that's worse, but you can't. My dad would punch my teeth down my fucking throat, excuse me, if I said that to a woman in public. Like, and I can't pretend that like I wouldn't deserve it. Sorry for the F bomb, but like, I don't know. I'm kind of getting myself worked up now.
Well, you know what, Tommy, there's a corollary to this in the area of law enforcement. I bet you and many of your listeners have probably heard of what then Mayor Rudy Giuliani and his police commissioner, Bernie Kerik, did in cleaning up New York City back in the day. And what they called it was the broken windows theory of law enforcement. And what that meant was that you do go after the little stuff. You do go after the lawbreakers at the lower level, and that deters and prevents the law breaking on up the scale, on up to, armed robbery and homicide and everything else.
Yeah.
It's a human nature thing. And
Yeah.
Rudy Giuliani and Bernie Kerik understood that.
Yeah.
I wish we did.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I know I'm just kind of beating a dead horse, but I make my bed as soon as I wake up every morning. I do put the dishes away. I put the laundry away. And when like I take care of those, I find like the podcast takes care of itself. Like my savings take care of itself. When you start pushing those aside and those aren't important, that's when it all falls down. And I don't know. I can't defend it. And if like people are saying like, no, that's okay, like, you got to say whatever you want. I don't know. It's just the whole thing kind of seems like, well, then what? I can't like throw my hat in with anyone then. Maybe that's my own existential crisis. I don't know. Not that you have the answer.
Yeah, no, I just, again, I really regret the loss of civility and respect at the ordinary people level in American society. And honestly, let's go to something like the 1958 book that we've talked about here on the show before, called The Naked Communist, written by W. Cleon Skousen, former FBI agent. And in there is chapter 13, which lists the 45 goals of communism today, meaning when the book was written, 1958. Although I think that was a later addition to the book, but nevertheless, that era. And among those 45 goals of communism, which were taken from testimony in front of Congress, House Un-American Activities, and then also on the Senate side, Senator Joseph McCarthy's Senate hearings on communism. They were taken from testimony by communists and former communists, Bella Dodd being one of them. There were more. And among those 45 are things like make pornography and obscenity commonplace.
Mm-hmm.
Degrade, I mean, I'm paraphrasing a bit here and combining some of these, but degrade the public space essentially was a theme. Do that in that there they called it motion pictures, Hollywood. Do that through the media. Today we would include social media, where the degradation of everything that was wholesome and good and moral and ethical was torn down, has been torn down. That has an effect on society. And just like Rudy Giuliani in New York City and petty crime escalates, if left unchecked, escalates into something much, much worse, like what we see in New York City and other Democrat-run cities across the country, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., escalates into very serious crime. So it is with these small, you might think of them, as small, manifestations of of public, I don't know, decorum,
Mhm.
call it. Um, Let the little stuff go, and pretty soon you're living in a society we don't recognize anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight that people are cheering on kids at a drag show with a neon sign that says it's not gonna lick itself. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. You don't again, you don't wake up and wonder how you put on 30 pounds. Like, it doesn't happen over it seems like it, and you do have that kind of rude awakening one day when, like, a shirt doesn't fit, but you're looking at it and it is and it's I don't know, it's like a weird I am torn because 'cause I'm also just, like, fiercely about do whatever you want as long as you don't physically hurt anybody and you're on your own property. And I don't know, maybe that's my opinion, just if you're in your 4 walls, go for it. What go for but there is something about normalizing just and it's not like a new or I mean, that is, right? It's like it's like a phrase, the decadence of Rome. Like, that's where it goes.
Mhm.
It's there are
It
this
doesn't stay in your own space. It doesn't stay in your own home.
Sure.
It is now throughout society. It's in our schools. It's in public entertainment. It's on the internet, obviously, social media. Um, it's no longer a case of just my First Amendment right to say what I will, so long as it's not immediate incitement to violence or yelling fire in a crowded theater when there is actually no fire. Although if there is a fire, you better be yelling fire.
Yeah.
Um, it's beyond that, and it goes back, I think, to those communist goals,
Yeah.
which are to coarsen and degrade society in America. And you do that. Sometimes they've done that. The communists, first Moscow KGB, now more and more we're talking about China and the CCP, Chinese Communist Party. You do that gradually, just as you said. It does not happen overnight. Um, and even though things may not be illegal, uh, when they become widespread and without any consequences, without anyone, an adult, to a younger person, saying that's not appropriate. No, it's not illegal. It's not, your First Amendment rights are your First Amendment rights, but that's not appropriate.
Sure.
Um, and that stopped happening. I would say at least by the 1960s, when the university brats, took over campuses, and the administration of those universities and colleges allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
That's where it began, and as you say, gradually got worse and worse and worse to where, people think it's comedy now to hear nothing but, a stream of obscenity and four-letter words, and they think that's funny. Well,
Yeah.
it's not funny. That's degradation of society, and no society that goes down this pathway and doesn't stop and turn around, um, is going to survive.
Yeah. And it's doing a complete 180. I also do think it's your complete right to do it. I don't think there should be government enforced morality, but I do think it's what you said. It's not bad for someone to say, like, "Hey, that's inappropriate." Like, Alex Stein can say that. That's 100% his right. Because if you say he can't, then you keep going down that path and you get gulags. It takes 50 years, but you go down that path. If he can't say that, then it turns into, well, Tommy, you can't have COVID episodes. You can't talk about election fraud. You can't, so that spirals off. But yeah, there does need to be, I guess, some sort of unofficial, not, I don't know. I guess it's on the backs of every average person. You just have to call it out when you see it, I guess. Claire, I think you're frozen. Miss Lopez, are you there? Am I talking into the void? Uh, I think I just lost it. Am I just yelling into the void? Wouldn't be now. Sorry about this, everybody. Her computer just crashed. Yeah, so um, so it's like I did an episode right when they leaked the Roe v. Wade thing, and I was kind of not kind of. I think a lot of my conservative, which is most of my listeners, disagreed with me in that I can't rationally say that the government can mandate experimental vaccines and say they can't do that, and then on one hand, and then on the other hand, say that they also can ban abortions. As reprehensible as I think abortions are, I'm not being true to myself or being honest with myself if I say the government can't control my body by making you take a vaccine. The government can control your body when it comes to abortion. And it's the same thing. Like, it's if I just go lockstep down with the group think, if you don't keep an open mind and you don't play the devil's advocate, then you're dead. I mean, really, you've sealed your mind. It's like taking a picture. You've sealed that moment in time. Those people, like an old picture of Native Americans, you have sealed that moment. And or you write your name in the wet cement. You've sealed it. And so if you don't keep your mind pliable, even if you don't agree with it, just entertain the idea, your thinking is done. And if you have kids, maybe that thought will continue to progress. But the second you close it all off, it becomes sealed. It's like a stamp into metal. It stamps the name into whatever, Mitsubishi, and that's there. And so just because Alex Stein is critiquing a member of a party that I am openly not for, dude, it's gross. You can't say it's not. You can't bullshit about American values and the return of Christianity in the United States and then say, hell yeah, the big juicy, like, it's not like you can't. You just you can't. You can't talk about the degradation of values and how we need to return to conservative America and then cheer on that. I mean, I get it's funny. It is funny. I'm also not going to try to be some Puritan priest. It is funny. The dude's got a goofy, cartoonish smile. It's funny. AOC is always for people getting heckled, and then it happens. I get the irony, but I don't know. It's you have to objectively. It's like the absolute value, right? In math, and I hate math. I was terrible at it. But the absolute value, right? 6 and -6. The absolute value is a unit of 6. What is the absolute value of that? That's a person, regardless if it's a male to a female or a female to a male, right? I mean, you always see the conservative thing where it's like, oh, you guys can't heckle girls, but there's like the cover of whatever Time or whatever, some magazine, and it's like, who had the best bulge at the Summer Olympics, and it's the swimmers, and it's harumph harumph harumph, they can't say that. And well, if you believe in that, if you believe in what you're saying, you're not just trying to score political points, then you also have to say, dude, you can't. The thing that people are trying to go back towards, a lot of people that follow this podcast, a lot of my friends, the thing that they're trying to go back towards, that nuclear family, that white picket fence, the mom and dad, and the raising the kids, and disciplining them when they need to, and washing your mouth out with soap. If you took one of those guys from World War II that we're allegedly praising, they beat the shit out of Alex Stein on just principle. And if you can't call something out on the side you're believing in, then you have become imprinted. You've become that metal imprintation, and then that's it. The absolute value is it's someone heckling. So one, it's an elected official. You don't have to like them. You cannot call for respect in the office if you're cool with that, let alone on the steps of the Capitol. And you also, it is harassment. It's just harassment. I think her computer's dead. So I don't know. And it's not something I can ignore. We can't just say, all right, well, all the other conservative thinks it's funny and thinks it's okay, but we'll wash it under the rug. Well, no, because if the foundation doesn't work, then I can't fucking get in bed with you on anything else. The whole thing is just there really is no consistency. Like people talking. It's like what Dale always says. Everyone talks like this big fight. It's not until the bullets start whizzing past your head that you see like who's got your back and who doesn't. You can go through training together. You can talk shit together, go to the bars together, go to funerals together. I got your back when your wife cheats on you. I'll take you in. You can sleep on my bed. It's not until the bullets start cracking by your head that you see who's a real one and who's not. I would imagine I'm probably not. He always said that his Afghanis, right? His local militia that he would that he would like put together. He would always say like you knew who was a real one and who wasn't. Some guys would just step up, like the goofiest guys with no teeth and mismatched sandals, and they didn't know how to wipe their ass. Like sometimes you just see this Rambo step up, and like that's a real one, right? You see it when it's real. You see, like today is my brother's birthday. You remember, and this isn't some guilt trip thing, but you remember who like the real ones are, the friends you haven't talked to in forever, and they like, shoot you a text like "love you, buddy." I'm not saying you should remember it. I'm not your husband. You don't have to, but that's the point. Is right. It's when things are shit. It's when things are shit. It's why I love Dale. Dale came on here, episode 50. I had like 100 subscribers on YouTube. There was no exposure my ass. There was nothing. Mike Durant came on episode 95. Charlie Duke 216. Rob Manning 210. There was no, even now it's almost at 11,000 subscribers. You maybe kind of get like you might get 2 book sales. You might get an extra follower. It's still nothing, but I don't know. Now I'm rambling. But let's see, where is Miss Lopez? It should say she's here, but I don't see her. I feel like I maybe need to edit out all of this because this technically isn't. I can't upload this as a Clare Lopez episode because it's just me yelling. But yeah, it's like, what's a real one? Are you gonna sit here with the American flag behind you, and it's about conservative values and the importance of a nuclear family and a strong father figure, and then say, ha ha ha, juicy Latina? Like, hey, I'm also, like I said, it is your right. You can say whatever the fuck you want. I'm not saying there should be like some Sharia law enforcing it. You can do that. I think he's in the right. I wonder if they're actually, DC's got a lot of weird laws. I wonder if there is like a weird exception for that. I don't know. But I don't know. Now I'm just yelling and rambling, and now I'm all wound up, and I think Miss Lopez is back any second now. Miss Clare Lopez should be appearing any second.
Okay.
Oh, she's back. Oh, she's
yeah,
back.
very sorry about that.
Don't worry. I started.
It happens on Zoom calls sometimes. I probably need a new computer.
I don't think Zoom sucks. Take it from me. It's Zoom. Zoom sucks.
Well, Either that, or as I texted to you, the gremlins didn't like what we were talking about. Could be
Somebody
that.
at Langley and Fort Meade's watching us, and they're some communist infiltrators going. They're talking out against the deterioration of society. Shut it down. Shut it down. So, but
Anyway, I do apologize, but
no, ma'am, don't
back
worry about it.
again. So
Don't worry. I worked myself up to into a frenzy and started monologuing, which I can do with no problem. But I know that you said you had about a half hour, and we're at the half hour mark. So with
yeah.
that, Miss Lopez, we'll wrap this one up.
Okay. Thanks so much for all your patience, and
Thank you for yours.
we'll pick up again next week, huh?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We
Okay.
will. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Have
God
a good
bless
one.
Miss Clare Lopez. Everybody go follow her on Twitter. I'll put your links in the description. Till next time. Thank you.